Hey mamas, Corinne here, and welcome back to My Modern Village, where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with you and your littles. So the other day, something kind of scary happened, so let me kind of back up and give you a little bit of context. So I was out running errands with both of the boys. My husband was at home trimming trees, doing yard work, something like that out in the front yard. So anyways, I get home with the boys, and my toddler saw my husband out front, so I unbuckled him and he's all excited. He runs out to Dad in the front yard, which is totally fine, right? We live in a cul-de-sac. There's only 4 houses total, and there's no alleys or anything in between the houses. Everybody has gates and walls, and basically like he's contained, right? There's nowhere that he can disappear to. And anyways, like I said, he ran straight to Dad, so I didn't worry too much about it. I kind of went around to the other side of the car, got the baby out of the car, still in his car seat, and then kind of went out to Dad and where Camden were. We were just talking a little bit. So as we're talking, my toddler at this point, he starts kind of like running around and exploring. We're pretty close to our next door neighbors, and she just happened to be out front, like cleaning out her garage. So my toddler sees the garage door open, so what does he do? Naturally, he runs into their garage, which again was fine. We know them pretty well. So, I go over there, again, still carrying Logan in his car seat. And, Camden at this point is kind of running, rummaging, helping himself in their garage. Again, she doesn't mind. We're just like talking, everything's fine. But anyways, a few minutes later, my husband comes over to try and get Camden, to get him to go inside because it's hot out. He wants to finish his project. I need to get the baby inside, out of the car seat, etc. But now it's a game, right? Anytime Dad gets close to the toddler, he takes off, right? And they're playing in the cul-de-sac. They're kind of running from house to house. Again, it's very safe. There's no cars, nothing like that. So my toddler's having a grand time. He's just running around. Dad's chasing him. Baby and I are talking to our neighbor, just kind of laughing, watching this whole scene unfold in front of us. But eventually, right, my husband catches our toddler and goes to bring him inside. So I, say bye to our neighbor, follow him inside, come in, and I take the baby into the kitchen to get him out of the car seat. Dad goes back outside to finish the project, locks the front door, everything's good. Well, probably not even a minute later, I, have Logan out of his seat now. I'm coming back towards the front door just in time to see Dad coming back inside with our toddler. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he was like, he just unlocked the front door. And I'm like, what? Like, that's always been my main, security checkpoint is, are all the doors locked, right? If the front door is locked and the door leading to the garage is locked, the kid can't escape, right? He can go in the backyard, but that's totally fine because we have gates and whatever, it's safe, right? It's in his yard. But he cannot just run out the front door. So I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, he just helped himself, to that lock, unflipped it real quick and just ran outside. And I was like, oh my God, right? This is a problem. Obviously, I cannot have my toddler just running out the front door whenever he feels like it. Yes, we live in a cul-de-sac, but that cul-de-sac is attached to a street, which leads to a much busier street. And all of the horrors and fears that go along with kids running around outside unsupervised. I mean, especially little tiny kids like he is, I don't know if I will ever actually trust my kids to be outside unsupervised, but certainly not at this age, right? So I was like, what are we going to do? We have to do something. So I'm like, okay, I know there's solutions out there, so we just got to find one. So off to Amazon we go. So let me show you the lock that we do currently have, and I'll kind of show you what we found. Okay, so this is the lock we currently have. It's kind of one of those high-tech locks. I think this one's Lockly brand. So you can unlock it with your smartphone, you can program fingerprints into it, etc. But my toddler basically just realized that all this takes is to flip this like this, and now it's unlocked, and he opened the door and let himself out. So I started looking on Amazon, and I did find a lock. So let me show you. So I did go to Amazon and I found this. Let it focus there. There you go. So my husband's already got it installed. So I'm going to show you how this puppy works. Okay, so let me kind of show you what this setup looks like. So again, this is just our regular, electronic lock with the deadbolt up here. So we installed it just right above. So of course the main thing here, we wanted to make sure that it was out of reach of our toddler, but not so high that when he's old enough to be able to go in and outside, We don't ever want him trapped inside the house if there's an emergency. He can never reach it, until he's a teenager or whatever. So it's definitely high enough where it's out of his reach right now, and I'll just kind of show you exactly how it works. So right now, the deadbolt on my door is open. The lock is in the open position. It just has this metal flap that physically covers it. So again, right now, door opens, no problem. To close it, you just push this over and it locks into place. So as you can see, the deadbolt is still unlocked, but the door physically won't open. And then again, to unlock it, you just squeeze it and it flips over like so. So now it's just physically not blocking the door jamb anymore. So pretty simple to operate, but again, it definitely is an extra lock there, even if the deadbolt is still unlocked. So, and the nice thing too is that there's no play at all like there would be with a chain or something on a door. So when this is in that locked position, there's no, you can't even tell, but I'm pulling on the door handle right now and there's no give at all. So the door's not going to open even a little bit. Now it's free. So it's just a physical piece to block the door from opening. It just mounts to the inside of the door jamb with 3 screws. It doesn't really have to be any specific spot. You can put it wherever is convenient for you, but it's just those 3 screws. So I had my husband install it last night. As soon as it got here, it was late, it was dark, and I was like, I don't care, just get this thing installed. I can't go another day with, knowing that my toddler could run out the front door any moment. But he did want to make sure to show me the hardware just so I know too, and I'm gonna share that with you guys. So it comes with 2 different sizes of screws, these kind of smaller ones on the bottom, and then these big 3-inch screws. Please, if you do get something like this, make sure to use the longer screws. The reason that doors are able to be kicked in is because the screws rip through the wood. So if you have these nice long 3-inch screws, something of that size, it makes it much, much harder for a door to actually be kicked in. So that's another, thing that's really nice about this, as a mom that stays home a lot with the kids, I'm working from home, or if I'm just here by myself, my husband works out of the house 100% of the time. So whether I'm working or I'm off, I'm usually here by myself, with the kids, of course. So safety is a huge thing. And you should always be wary of people coming up to the front door. Home invasions have happened throughout the country. It's horrible and it's scary. And you probably think, not in my neighborhood, it can't happen to me. But having this extra security mechanism makes me feel a lot better. And I know it makes my husband feel a lot better about us being home too. Because the other nice thing about this is from the outside, you can't tell where that is. So there's this whole extra, piece of security that keeps the door in place, and somebody on the outside can't tell where that is, so they wouldn't know where to apply force to try and break open the door. So that's just kind of an extra bonus. Actually, at one of my offices back in Houston, Texas, when I lived there, we had these active shooter trainings, and they installed a very similar mechanism on all of our internal conference rooms, because those were the active shooter shelter places or whatever within the office. So, the police department talks a lot about how, that extra point of reinforcement makes the doors virtually impossible to be kicked in or forced open. So just something else to think about. Again, our main motivation was, I can't have my toddler running out the front door of our house, but definitely an added bonus is that extra security measure. So whether you have concerns about, somebody maybe coming in your front door that's not welcome, or if your toddler like mine is extra sneaky and all they had to do was watch, and then the very first time they tried it, they were free as can be and just running out the front door. Something like this is a huge, something like this gives you a big peace of mind. So I'll make sure to drop the link below. Again, we got these on Amazon. It actually came in a 2-pack. So you can put it on your back door as well. It just needs to be a door that opens inward. So anything that opens outward, for me, my door that leads to my garage opens into the garage. So it's an outward opening door from within the house, so it wouldn't work there. There has to be a little bit of space. I'll show you one more time, just kind of this gap here. I think it says it's like 2 millimeters or something, just enough for this actual metal piece to go in the door itself. But that's the only thing that's really required to use something like this. We didn't have to do any modifications or like make that space in the door jamb. It was just kind of already there. So pretty easy to install, relatively inexpensive. I think the 2-pack was around 20 bucks or so. So again, I'll drop the link below in case you're looking for some sort of security solution for your doors. But definitely a scary moment, just the thought that he could have run out the front door. And that day, actually, when he first figured out he could do it, we of course sat here forever, with our hands over the lock, making sure he didn't go anywhere. Man, oh man, did he have a meltdown. I mean, full on toddler temper tantrum because he wanted to go back outside and play because he was having a grand old time running around the cul-de-sac. So that was really hard. It wasn't that he was necessarily just trying to be sneaky or, get away from me. He thought he was going outside to go have more fun. And we were like, no, buddy, like, we're inside, we're staying in now. Ugh, it was rough. So once we got through the tantrum, we were like, we need to figure out a solution. And so far, this has been a really simple, easy, inexpensive fix to this. So yeah, of course, the only thing is, if my husband comes home through the front door, I gotta make sure it's unlocked by the time he gets home from work because obviously his key, or actually this thing opens with our fingerprints, but he won't be able to get in if I forget to unlatch it. So just like a chain, on a more like traditional security chain on doors, you got to make sure it's open for people, even if they have a key. But so far, so good. So if you have any questions or comments about this product or something similar, let me know. Like I said, so far, this one's been an easy solution. But yeah, hope it was helpful. And if you have a toddler that hasn't figured this out yet, don't take it for granted that they don't know how to get out those doors because, man, he learned fast. Like I said, his first try, he figured it out. So thanks, guys. Again, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure to grab my email newsletter, and I'll see you next time.